Have you ever gotten to the bottom of a page, blinked, and realized you absorbed absolutely nothing? I mean, your eyes tracked every single word, but the meaning just completely vanished into thin air? It's a wildly common frustration, right? Especially when we're dealing with dense academic texts, complex articles, or those incredibly long reports where the author's meaning just kind of slips right through our fingers.
Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are essentially becoming reading detectives. We're going to master the exact strategies you need to decode complex passages just by tracking how ideas move and connect across a text. We're learning how to make what's called the comprehension leap, ensuring you literally never lose the thread of a complicated argument ever again. Okay, let's dive right into our source material. We're pulling these strategies directly from Erica Meltzer's incredibly detailed guide, The Critical Reader. Now, while this book is pretty famous for helping students conquer standardized tests, the framework Meltzer outlines is, honestly, a universal masterclass in reading comprehension. She equips us with the exact tools we need to take highly challenging, abstract text and break it down into manageable, understandable pieces. So here's our roadmap for today. First, making the comprehension leap. Second, tracking tricky pronouns. Third, cracking compression nouns. Fourth, the backup strategy. And finally, number 5, the former and latter. Let's get to it.
All right, section 1, making the comprehension leap, moving from specific to abstract. To navigate really tough texts, we've got to act as detectives, tracking the little clues authors leave behind to connect their specific examples to their massive big-picture conclusions. Which brings us to section 2, tracking tricky pronouns. These are the smallest clues. See, pronouns, words like it, this, that, these, or they, are basically the most basic clues at our reading crime scene. Let's look at a specific example pulled straight from the source. Read along with me here. Neural networks, computing systems inspired by the architecture of the human brain. In neuroscience, they are often used to model. Okay, pause. When you're reading actively, hitting a word like they should immediately trigger a question in your mind. Who or what exactly is they?
And here is the actual detective work required to answer that question systematically. Step 1, you spot the plural pronoun they. Step 2, because they is plural, you know you have to scan backward in the text to find a plural noun. Step 3, you logically connect it to the referent. So backing up leads us straight to neural networks, right? It's a plural noun ending in S that perfectly fits the context of modeling the brain. Matching singular to singular and plural to plural, that is what keeps you locked onto the text's actual focus without getting distracted.
Moving on to section 3, cracking compression nouns, unpacking abstract ideas.
Beyond basic pronouns, authors use another type of clue to shift from the specific to the abstract. Words like phenomenon, assertion, finding, or idea, Meltzer specifically calls these compression nouns. Why? Well, because they literally compress massive amounts of information or highly complex arguments into a tiny single word or short phrase package. Recognizing the relationship between a compression noun and the specific thing it actually refers to is absolutely central to making sense of a difficult passage.
Let's look at an excerpt from the text to see a compression noun out in the wild. It reads, "The internet has made us all less dependent on professional journalists, but this enhanced convenience comes with a considerable risk." Pause right there. What exactly is that abstract phrase, "this enhanced convenience," referring to? When we break it down, our primary clue is this enhanced convenience. By looking at the context, we see it's referring back to a massive preceding idea. The fact that the internet has made us less dependent on journalists to find information simply because we can seek it out directly. By using the compression noun phrase, "this enhanced convenience," the author cleanly packs up that entire long, clunky previous sentence and carries the idea forward smoothly. Without this compression, the author would literally have to awkwardly restate that entire massive sentence just to make their next point.
All right, section 4, the backup strategy, reversing your reading direction.
To actually find these references without getting totally lost, you need a reliable, physical reading strategy. Step 1, spot the abstract noun or pronoun. Step 2, stop reading forward immediately. I mean it, do not keep going. Step 3, back up and read the sentences before the noun appears. Meltzer points out that readers often get caught in this frustrating loop of reading a phrase in isolation, then pushing forward into new territory and getting completely lost. The answer, almost always, is right behind you.
Let's actually apply this backup strategy together. Take a look at this quote regarding neural networks. When they learn sequentially, old information is often overwritten by new information.
This loss, which occurs when new pathways are formed, is known as catastrophic forgetting. Okay, boom, we hit the compression phrase, this loss. We stop reading forward. We back up. What was lost? The previous phrase tells us, old information being overwritten. Mystery solved, context secured, and we didn't get derailed by the complex jargon that came after it.
Section 5. The former and latter. Highly structured clues. You know, these terms frequently trip up even advanced readers, but they actually follow an incredibly rigid, predictable rule. It is a strict chronological map of how subjects were just listed in the text. The former always refers back to the first noun or phrase mentioned. The latter always refers back to the second noun or phrase mentioned. In a fantastic mental trick Meltzer provides, just think latter is like later. It's the one that came later in the list.
Let's investigate a classic historical example to see this rule in action. The text reads, in the 19th century, both Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla were well-known scientists, but the former quickly came to be regarded as one of the greatest American inventors, while the latter fell into obscurity.
Applying our strict chronological rule makes this perfectly clear. The first person mentioned in the text, that's Thomas Edison. The second person mentioned, Nikola Tesla. Therefore, the former equals Thomas Edison, and the latter equals Nikola Tesla. It's a simple, undeniable structural map that prevents any historical mix-ups.
Okay, let's level up and dive into a slightly more complex scientific example from the source material. This is about how bodies in the solar system eliminate heat. Read carefully. They rid themselves of this heat in two ways. One, by emitting infrared radiation, and two, by shedding matter. The former process prevails. For others, the latter dominates.
Look at that! Even when we replace simple names of people with complex scientific processes, the rule holds absolutely firm. The first referent listed is emitting infrared radiation, so that maps exactly to the former process. The second referent is shedding matter, which maps perfectly to the latter. You definitely don't have to be an astrophysicist to understand the passage. You just have to be a good reading detective mapping the structure of the author's clues.
So here is my challenge to you. The next time you open a dense academic article, a challenging business report, or even just a long, rambling email from a colleague, don't let your eyes glaze over. Pay attention to the architecture of the text. Can you spot the sneaky pronouns? Can you catch the compression nouns packaging up massive ideas into single words? Just remember to use the backup strategy. Stop, reverse, and track those clues. Because once you start seeing these structures, you realize that reading isn't about just absorbing a wall of text. It's about following a meticulously laid trail. So will you make the comprehension leap and solve the mystery of your next read? Keep analyzing, and I'll see you in the next explainer.